Take it easy on me. Take it easy on me. My not being able to find a home in Edmonton was a real strain on my late relationship with my mother. You know, it's been bruised. My mother works out of her home, and we were all of us were in one bedroom, and trying to just keep quiet so that she could do her job. She writes and she's on the computer and interviewing people and things, and it's sad because my kids had to live with the strain of my relationship with my mother. It was hard for them because they were used to, we had a huge house in Medicine Hat, and there was a huge yard and the swings and slide and things, and then we came here and they were in one room and had to be quiet. There wasn't any room for them to really play outside. You just I couldn't just keep them quiet, and it felt pretty impossible. Actually, we did it somehow, but it felt pretty impossible, and pride was the only thing that stopped me from going to the shelter, and I've been to a women's shelter before, but this is a bigger city, and that scared me. I don't like focusing on the negative, but I'm still feeling pretty bruised over this whole experience with housing. And for example, I ended up going to apply for assistance, just so I could at least get somewhere, or get a house. And even though I explained that it was an emergency situation, I couldn't stay where I was anymore. And if I hadn't found my place, I was already looking into hotels, to stay at for a month, which would have been a real pain, because then I wouldn't have known what area of the city I was going to live in, and what area or what school I should put my children in. So I was not wanting to move to go to the hotels, but I was just desperate, and I went to social services to hopefully just looking for some kind of help or some kind of guidance, and it took 2 or 3 weeks to get in to see them, and so I couldn't tell anyone I was on assistance and get a house during that period, because it took all this time just to get in to see them, and that was really harsh. And then not having, it didn't. I know that they're there to help, and they have so many people to deal with. But that was really harsh. That when I finally did turn to them for help, that it took so long. Just to even, there was no guarantee you'd get help. It's just to find out wait to find out if you might get help. And if I could have, I would have packed up that U-Haul, and gone back so fast. There were so many times the only reason we did stay, I think, is because I'd unpacked all of my furniture into my mother's basement, and I didn't want to to leave that as a burden with her. Otherwise, I would have run back, because it was just too hard, and having to keep my children quiet, and not having my own space, and for my kids, it was just too hard. And, to try to be, positive in this, or positive about this situation, I would think at least this is going to help me to be compassionate with people going through the same experience. And I still believe that at some point, that what I've experienced will turn out to be useful for somebody else. And that I will somehow be able to help someone, or at least just not judge someone, even if it's only that, because I've been there, And I know my brother made a joke about, or not a joke, but said something about, oh, how weird, my sister's homeless. And, that didn't really hit me. that was kind of what it was. Like, I didn't see it as homeless. I just was kind of staying somewhere I wasn't wanted and didn't have really any safe place, but I didn't see it as being homeless. It was kind of weird. Like I never thought I'd be here, that's for sure.